We're halfway through season 1 and Fulham are struggling. Despite a Jeff Bezos takeover and 4 new summer signings, we're falling down the table fast and we badly need a lift if we want to turn this poor form around. Luckily I have some of the best scouts in the business at my disposal, so it's time to turn to them for some advice. Following Balogun is a centre forward with Premier League experience. He's playing for Monaco at the moment, but he will join the club if we manage to qualify for the Europa League, as he wants vengeance on Arsenal for wasting his youth. Tyler Adams is a central defensive midfielder once again with Premier League experience. He'll join if he's guaranteed the captaincy and if Fulham finish above Bournemouth in the league. Giovanni Reina is a central attacking midfielder once again with Premier League experience, plying his trade at Borussia Dortmund. He wants to be a guaranteed starter and will sign if the club finish in the top 8. And finally, Sessegnon Dest, a right midfielder and right back. He doesn't have Premier League experience, but he will sign for the club if we make the European football, and he requested a player of Dutch heritage, heralding from his Ajax days, to be signed as well to prevent him from becoming homesick. Okay, so that's a lot of suggestions, so let's get straight down to business. The question mark over who's going to be the long-term striker at the club continues to rage on, with a 32-year-old Raul Jimenez clearly not the answer, and a 22-year-old Rodrigo Munoz showing some great potential this season, but really needing some extra competition. And the American Following Balogun could well be the answer. Having plied his trade with Arsenal in his youth, and obviously feeling those years have been wasted, he had to go abroad to try and find his feet, and he's done just that, showing the world what he can do at Monaco, and seemingly ready for a move back to the Premier League. But with so many different striking options and suggestions to choose from, he's going to have to beat off some serious competition if he wants to join Fulham Football Club. Now, despite me bringing in 2 new central midfielders in Nicolas Dominguez and the 25-year-old Norwegian Sander Berge, they just haven't seemed to have hit the ground running, with the veteran Tom Kearney still managing to find a route into my starting 11 despite me wanting to try and phase him out, and with me still failing to properly replace the world-class Portuguese Joao Palhinha. However, with new shareholder Jeff Bezos looking for an American-style leader and captain, could Tyler Adams, Bournemouth main man, be the answer to our prayers? Formerly of Leeds, now of Bournemouth, obviously having that Premier League experience that I'm so desperately craving, and with him being 24 years of age and the best years ahead of him, with him being 78 rated, he would come in and be one of the strongest figures in the heart of my midfield. At around £15 million, he'd certainly fit into the budget, and with Bournemouth currently finding themselves 3 points below us, trying to stave off a relegation fight, who knows, he could be a very realistic option for us next season. Now, I mentioned I wanted to prioritise the development efforts of this man Andreas Pereira, seeing him as the linchpin to all of our attacking moves. And whilst he is our top assist maker so far this season, with him only having 4 in 15 Premier League appearances, he's not exactly pulling up trees like I was hoping he would. Now, perhaps the pressure on his shoulders of being the only recognised central attacking midfielder at the club is weighing heavily on the 27-year-old Brazilian. And even though I brought in Emi Buendia at the beginning of the summer to play on the right-hand side of midfield, I was hoping he would be able to take some of that pressure off his shoulders, being able to play in that central attacking midfield role. But due to the Argentinian being absolutely woeful since joining, not getting any assists whatsoever, clearly that area of the pitch is still a problem for us as well. And to enter Giovanni Reina, a former wonder kid who seems to have lost his way a little bit since joining Borussia Dortmund. He's now finding himself out on loan at Nottingham Forest, but I'm sure with him now having Premier League experience, he could well be a decent option for me once again at the beginning of next season. However, once again, with us languishing in 15th place, several points off of a top 8 finish, we've got a hell of a lot of work to do if we want to try and convince a player of his stature to join the West London club. And finally, Sessegnon Dest, yet another wonder kid who seems to have lost his way since joining the bright lights of Barcelona. And whilst in the short term at least, I'm pretty comfortable with some of the options that I've got at right back, with the likes of Timmy Castagna and also Kenny Tete, with me only having a 72 rated on loan Ballo-Touré in reserve for my number 1 left back Anthony Robinson, and with the young man having the versatility to be able to play on the left hand side of my defence, once again a very decent and realistic option that I might want to explore if I'm able to get European football this season. However, for me, with a sort of -1 goal difference and only being able to score 21 goals in 16 games, and whilst Rodrigo Munoz might be holding up the fort with 9 goals in 16 games, the rest of my team are really not helping him whatsoever in providing a supporting role. With such few goals and such few assists, creativity right across the park is a serious problem for me. And with one of my scouts being absolutely desperate, constantly knocking on my door, demanding that I sign a certain Englishman, could the set-piece specialist James Ward-Prowse be the man to plug that gap? He has the versatility that I so desperately crave: central midfield, central defensive midfield, and central attacking midfield, plus he's 29 years of age and has ample experience in the Premier League. However, despite him showing in a West Ham United shirt in this career mode, he is currently on loan at Nottingham Forest, which means that he is going to be out of touch for me, at least in season 1. Similar to a couple of the other suggestions though on my shortlist, despite Jeff Bezos wanting me me to bring in some top-tier American talent? Could James Ward-Prowse be a good fit for the club at this stage in our development? Let me know down below in the comments what you think. However, with us having £32 million still left to spend, and only a few weeks until the start of the January transfer window, after a horrific run of form that saw us drop down from the European spot all the way down to 15th place, now fighting a relegation battle, there is absolutely no doubt that this squad needs improving, especially in the attacking areas. And in my desperate attempt to try and inject some youthful excitement into this team, I promoted the 17-year-old American Jonathan Jones to the senior squad, which unfortunately proved to be a bit of a rash decision, with him failing to impress and the youngster's confidence getting a little bit of a kick in the gut. Hopefully it's nothing that a nice little loan move won't solve, as he's going to be shipped off on a nice little short-term deal that will hopefully give him some much-needed first-team football that he so desperately craves to try and build back his confidence as he heads off to UCD AFC to try and develop his game away from the prying eyes of Jeff Bezos. In the meantime, though, it's back to the football, and after somehow being able to rescue our poor form with a 3-1 victory away from home against Newcastle, before getting slapped back down to earth in the Carabao Cup, losing 2-1 at home to Chelsea. But we bounced back with a 2-1 away win against Bournemouth, and even managing to beat a London rival Arsenal 2-1. And those results are not just a lift for morale in the squad, but a lift in the Premier League as well, because it's amazing what a few wins can do. We've gone from 15th place in the table all the way back up now into 6th, and we're now just 1 point away from the final Europa League spot. It's been a real rollercoaster of performances and results for some of these players so far this season, with a really good start to the campaign, then being sandwiched with an absolute shambles in the middle before finally getting back to some decent form before the start of the January transfer window. But despite us being in a good vein of form at the moment, I am nervous about that level of inconsistency this season from these players if we want to qualify for European football. Now, I know there have been certain players whom I've been heavily recommended to sign this season who would fit into the ethos that Jeff Bezos is so desperately craving for. However, with those players wanting us to meet certain expectations this season before deciding to join the club, I think I've got to try and search for someone who I genuinely believe can improve the team in the here and now. And whilst I know Rodrigo Munoz is having a stellar season, up by 3 points to 75, chipping in with 11 goals in just 18 Premier League appearances, with Raul Jimenez having a really disappointing campaign, I cannot put all my attacking eggs in the basket of a 22-year-old Brazilian. So with that in mind, I think a brand new striker is going to be the priority for me this January. It doesn't have to be a world-class name, but at least someone who can chip in, maybe with a couple of goals and a couple of assists towards the back end of the season. And perhaps with some rumours starting to swirl around the footballing industry that I'm out for the hunt for a brand new striker, the agent of the icon Aleksandar Mitrovic decides to come and knock on my door. This is Mitrovic's agent. He wants to know if there's any way Fulham could give him another chance, as he's not enjoyed his time at Saudi and feels he could guide Fulham to new heights while being an experienced face as new youth is implemented and Munoz grows. Now, initially I wasn't thinking about bringing the 29-year-old Serbian back to the club. However, his agent has certainly piqued my interest, and potentially with the former Fulham icon desperate for a return back to the Premier League, could he be that level of experience and morale boost that the club so desperately need? So against my better judgment, I decided to enter some negotiations for the services of the experienced Serbian. However, it seems like the bigwigs at Saudi are eager to make their money back, and even more, because they've ended up pricing me out of a deal for Mitrovic, and I was not able to secure his services. And then just when I decided to go back to my shortlist to try and see if I could actually snap up the services of any more reasonably priced suggestions that you've provided to me, I was suddenly hit with a little bit of a blow, because after complaining to his parent club AC Milan that he wasn't getting enough game time ahead of Anthony Robinson, Ballo-Touré has been recalled from his loan spell by the Italian giants, leaving me with just one senior left back at the club. So unfortunately, whilst I do still feel like signing a striker is going to be a key priority for me next season, it looks like I'm going to have to put that position on hold right now and rely on the good form of the 22-year-old Brazilian to see us through until the end of the season. Now, with Jeff eager for me to maintain an American ethos at the club, he's not going to want me to bring in a brand new world-class left back to replace this man Anthony Robinson in the start of my defence. So I think it makes sense to bring in someone who's going to continue to act as his reserve, or can at least potentially try and compete with him for that left back spot. And so whilst all logic points to one of my suggested signings, this man Sessegnon Dest, with him still having caveats for me wanting to qualify for European football, he's not going to be an option for me midway through season 1. However, with me wanting to inject that extra bit of morale into the squad, and in my failure to try and tempt back a former club icon in Aleksandar Mitrovic, I've decided a different tact and bring in someone who I know is going to be a fan favourite and is going to lift every single person off their seat at Craven Cottage, as the prodigal son Ryan Sessegnon returns to the West London club for £5.75 million. I know he's not an American, but I'm sure with the fan reaction, Jeff Bezos won't mind. He's lost his way a little bit at Tottenham, but what better way to try and regain that wonderful form that once touted him as being a future wonder kid, as Ryan Sessegnon returns home to Fulham Football Club. And he's going to get the opportunity to impress right away, as he's been thrown straight into the deep end as we're about to kick off our FA Cup campaign against Plymouth Argyle away from home. He's coming off a long-term injury and he hasn't played in a very, very long time, but I'm hoping this type of game is going to be the perfect one to ease him back into life here at Craven Cottage as we look to try and seek our path through to the next round. In addition to his second debut for the club, there are a few more changes that I've decided to make. Whilst Leno keeps his place in goal, Castagna starts at the back, Diop, Bassi and Sessegnon make up the rest of the back line. Lukic and Dominguez start in midfield. Traore will start on the right, Buendia in the centre, Willian on the left, with Rodrigo Munoz starting up front. It's round off for Plymouth to get us started here, and it's a good challenge though from Castagna early doors to win the ball back now, and Fulham can try and bring this one forward. We play it short into Dominguez. Dominguez into Willian, who's come very central here, and Willian's going to look for the ball into that man Ryan Sessegnon, who gets involved straight away, but just gets bundled off it, showing a little bit of rustiness early doors. Right for Plymouth. Nice ball into Hamache, turns and slithers away from a couple of challenges into Wayne, gives it back to Hamache, out wide to the right-hand side to Mumba, who plays it back. This is some good football from Plymouth Argyle, but Diop with a good challenge, not good enough though, as he doesn't manage to win the ball back, and they burst into the box here. Castagna though puts the block in. Some early scares here for Fulham inside the opening 12 minutes. Dominguez into Lukic. Lukic turns, nice little touch away, looking for the ball over to Ryan Sessegnon, but he loses it in the heart of the midfield here, and it's been a real sloppy display so far from Fulham in the opening 15. Wayne, though, plays it into Whittaker down the right-hand side. Sessegnon frantically trying to come across here to try and cover. The left-back, though, does just about enough, but it's into Wayne. Sessegnon tries to put the block in again. Leno saves this time, but fortunately enough for me, we breathe a sigh of relief as they've just about managed to stray offside. Worrying signs here early doors away from home. We seem to be a little bit all over the place here, as does this man Ryan Sessegnon here, yet to find his feet, but he's played a nice ball into Lukic here, who's going to try and see if he can play this one down the channel into Willian. He does play it down the channel, but he can't beat the challenge of Gibson. Great defending. Sessegnon with the throw. He's been heavily involved, whether that's a good thing or not, time will tell, as Lukic has it in the centre of the park, and Lukic tries to take it on, falls very kindly back to him though, into his path, and he took it on with his left. In the end, the keeper is forced into his first stop of the game, and Buendia will be the man to take the resulting corner. It's the first corner of the game, and it's going to be an in-swinger here. It's a short one into Lukic, but he can't quite make onto that ball. He's going to try and pick up the scraps here. He does just about keep it in play, and goes and gives it away in the process, and now we are exposed as Plymouth look to try and hit us on the counter-attack. Wayne, though, looks to be blocked off, isn't blocked off. Bassi comes across with a challenge, doesn't win it back, neither does Castagna. Plymouth continue to go down this left-hand side. Mumba comes across, it's a poor ball, and eventually we just about managed to snuff out the danger. But my word, we've been poor at both ends of the field. Bassi to try and bring it out of defence though this time, looking for Willian. Finds Willian. He turns it round the corner and looks for Ryan Sessegnon with the overlap, and that's exactly what I want to see. Ryan Sessegnon showing that pace to burst into the box here, looking for his first assist, and Munoz was laid on a plate, but he couldn't quite take advantage, and that's a big chance. Hamache now plays it down this right-hand flank, and Sessegnon is absolutely dead on his feet, already showing that lack of match fitness here as he tries to burst down the left-hand side. Eventually, he's bailed out of trouble as Rodrigo Munoz tries to play it around the corner. Isn't able to, though. The pace of this game is absolutely frantic. Wayne, though, blocked off by Bassi. Good defending, real end-to-end stuff here, right on the stroke of half-time. Have we got one more chance here before the referee blows for the half-time whistle? Willian looking for a ball out wide on the right-hand side, finds the ball into Castagna. That's a nice little ball around the corner into Adama Traore. Adama Traore now looking for the ball in, finds the ball in. Oh my word, Munoz was inches away from getting his head on it as the referee blows for half-time. Let's pass into Traore to kick off this second half here. Munoz around the corner into Lukic, really nicely done. Goes out wide to the left-hand side to Ryan Sessegnon. Bursts past the challenge of the defender, throws it into the box. No one is there. Headed clear. Down to Munoz. Out to Dominguez, who takes it on. It's off the bar. What a strike that would have been. And Plymouth just about clear their lines. Edwards now, though, down this left-hand side. Nowhere to be seen as Ryan Sessegnon. He's really starting to flag here. 60 minutes on the clock. Whittaker into the box. Diop comes across, and once again we just managed to get out of a little bit of danger there. Willian now, ball forward into Rodrigo Munoz, who's come deep to try and collect and get himself involved, and plays a lovely ball out to Castagna on the right hand side. The right back goes infield, looking for the ball into Buendia. It's a lovely run from the young man. Into the box he goes, looks for the cutback, can't quite find it. Good defending once again from Plymouth Argyle, but Lukic into the box. The pressure was too much for the championship side, and they've gone and given away an absolute howler inside their own 6-yard box. Well, just with me saying they've defended defended admirably so far this game. They've gone and given away a goal there. It's so poor. Absolute shambles at the back. Lukic, his pressure was just too much for the centre-back, who lost it in such a dangerous area, and the keeper couldn't come out quick enough. Deservedly, we lead 1-0. But following on from that goal, 70 minutes on the clock, Ryan Sessegnon is absolutely gassed. A return to first-team football for the young man in a very long time. He's done okay. Well, he's certainly going to need a few more games to get himself back up to full match fitness. He's replaced by Tete on the left-hand side of my defence as we look to hold on to this 1-0 lead. But at the moment, Plymouth Argyle are pushing on forward here. Randall on the edge of the box takes a strike from distance. Leno forced into a save and just about managed to jump on the second attempt. Lukic. Short one into Dominguez. Dominguez looks to go right over to the right-hand side to Castagna. That is a wonderful ball from the Argentinian, and Castagna took it down really well into Adama Traore. The big man can't use his pace to burst into the box. Gave it away, and once again, the South Coast Club are off again to try and see if they can hit us on the counter. Bassi, though, with a really good challenge. This game has been absolutely lightning, end to end, absolutely everywhere you see it. Willian can't get past a crowded midfield. Once again, it's brought forward. Hamache into Randall. Plymouth looking eagerly, desperately, with about 5 minutes left plus stoppage time on the clock to get a foothold back into this game. Whittaker into the centre, back into Randall, looks to the edge of the box to Hamache, takes it on. It's blocked off by my defence, and eventually we just about managed to clear our lines here. And now Adama Traore, the big man, has the pace and the space to burst away from the challenge of the Plymouth Argyle defence. Look at him go into the box, waiting for the cutback, finds the cutback into Munoz, can't put the game to bed. Willian will take the corner though, deep into stoppage time. Is this going to be the last chance to put the game to bed? No, it isn't. It's headed clear by the Argyle defence. Back out to Willian, who's going to try and loft this one back into the box. Oh, it was inches away from going straight to the head of Rodrigo Munoz, who will try and take it on again. Can't though, blocked off. Plymouth Argyle defending for their lives here. They hack it clear. Game over. And what a game it turned out to be. The return of the prodigal son, Ryan Sessegnon, and his first game back, his second debut, results in a victory, a much needed victory in the FA Cup. And we progress through to the next round. It's a wonderful return home for the 23-year-old Ryan Sessegnon. He struggled, but he did get up and down the flank, and he had a decent enough game. I think he's certainly going to need a few more, though, to get himself back up to 100% match fitness. But more importantly, though, with Sasa Lukic having a decent game in the heart of the midfield, and now up to a 77 rated, ahead of the likes of Sander Berge, and of course the 32-year-old Tom Kearney, is the 27-year-old Serbian finally going to be the man that I've been desperately searching for to partner this man, Nicolas Dominguez, in the heart of my midfield. So I think it's time to throw him straight into the deep end to see what he can do against the toughest opposition, because following on from beating Chelsea at the beginning of the season at Craven Cottage 2-0, we are now travelling to Stamford Bridge to face off once again against our arch rivals in a game that they are going to be eagerly desperate to try and reclaim some sort of revenge against us. It is a return back to my strongest starting 11 with one notable exception. Whilst Leno keeps his place in goal, Tete, Diop and Sutalu will be partnered by Ryan Sessegnon on the left-hand side of my defence. He's got the nod ahead of Anthony Robinson, who will be slightly disappointed, but I'm eagerly desperate to try and get some match fitness back into the legs of the young Englishman. Lukic will of course partner Dominguez in the heart of the midfield. Buendia, Pereira, Iwobi will start behind Munoz up front. We've got a free kick here early doors inside the opening 5 minutes that it's going to be Andreas Pereira who's going to take. And I'm going to look to try and see if I can just float this one into the box. It's a horrendous free kick, and the Brazilian's got to do better than that. It's a Diop to bring it out of defence. Chelsea starting off very restrained so far. Every single man inside their own half here as they're frantically defending against us here, as Tete does a really good job of bursting right to the edge of the box and playing a ball in. Disasi, though, with a good header away. Enzo Fernandez, though, only out as far as Lukic, who picks up the scraps. Dominguez will pick it up again, though. Dominguez looking to line up a strike, does line up a strike through a body, a sea of bodies in the Chelsea midfield, but in the end it goes straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Petrovic. Andreas Pereira, though, picks it up once again in the heart of the midfield and plays it out to Buendia on the right-hand side, who takes it on, shifts it onto his left, looking for an angle to see if he can line up a shot here. He's got one. It's blocked off. Is it going to fall for a corner? Pereira keeps it in play, though, and puts it in the box, looking for Rodrigo Munoz. Couldn't quite find him. Lukic, though, heads it back down into the path of Buendia, who tries to play it around the corner, and in the end, the attack breaks down. So Kunku for Chelsea being hunted down by Dominguez. The young man's done a really good job and is really starting to grow into a Fulham shirt after a bit of a shaky start to life in West London, as Tete now has it once again on the right hand side. He's blocked off though by Cucurella, and now we're open down that side of our defence here as Chelsea Chelsea look to try and see if they can hit us on the counter. It's Mudryk now, looking to come across, but Diop with a thumping challenge wins the ball back cleanly. And now the centre-back drives into the centre of the park, but he's blocked off by Colwell. Really poor attacking play in the end from him after doing such good defensive work. We're piling on the pressure here from Chelsea. Oh my word, I thought Petrovic was going to be caught in possession there. Diop once again brings it out of defence. Buendia around the corner, lovely stuff into Tete down the right-hand side, looking for a ball in the box, finds a ball in the box, finds the head of Andreas Pereira. It's a tame one though into the arms of Petrovic once again. Into Sessegnon now, the left back, can make a driving run forward here, and he's done just that. Burst past one challenge, almost burst past the second, and almost played a wonderful ball into Munoz. Once again, Petrovic playing with fire, and almost getting closed down by the 22-year-old Brazilian. Tete heads it away into the pot to Cucurella. We're pressing high, and we win the ball back, only out for a throw though. And unfortunately though, as we begin the second half, for all of our chances and all of our possession, we have absolutely nothing to show for it as we begin the second 45, 0-0. We've got to try and do more to try and break down this stubborn Chelsea defence here as Munoz plays it into Iwobi, looks to go round the right back, does go round the right back, once again tries to float it into the box, looks for Buendia. Oh my goodness, what a fabulous way that would have been to open up your Premier League account for Fulham, but it wasn't meant to be. Nice pass straight forward into Nicholas Jackson, Chelsea's first foray into my half here at the beginning of this second half. Cole Palmer blocked off by Diop, brilliant defending once again. He's been absolutely rock solid at the back for me as Lukic now has options up ahead, decides to go for Iwobi on the left hand side. I'm not quite sure that was the best option, but the Nigerian with a driving run into Munoz, who's dragged it wide. Correa, short one into Colwell. Chelsea building out from the back, but much to their avail here as Munoz into the box he goes, cuts it back into Buendia. It's blocked off again. How many chances do we need? Fofana short into Disasi. Disasi goes past Ryan Sessegnon like he's not even there. Again, defensively, the young man has got a lot of work to do as it's thrown into the box. Mudryk forces Leno into his first stop of the game. Well, we've been warned, if we don't take our chances, we potentially could be made to pay here as the Adama Traore as a substitute cannot quite stop the fleeted footwork of Mudryk, and he's going to try and use his pace to get away from him, but he can't use that pace, and Chelsea once again have it, and they're starting now to turn the screw. Disasi manages to turn away from the challenge of Ryan Sessegnon, but the Englishman with a good challenge, and that's exactly what I want to see from him. And now look at this for a driving run, and that's a wonderful pick out of Iwobi, and the Nigerian can try and burst down this left-hand side. He's got options if he can find any. Into the box he goes, looks for Andreas Pereira, straight at the goalkeeper. It's another big chance that we've missed. And Kunku for Chelsea now, into Cole Palmer. This game really starting to open up here with about 10 minutes left remaining on the clock. Dominguez with the interception. Cucurella with a lovely touch to get away from the Argentinian. Plays it into Mudryk. Mudryk looks to go past Tete. He does go past Tete. It's Issa Diop who tries to come across. Diop can't do a challenge enough. Sutalu though it falls to, and it looks like it's going to be a free kick in a dangerous area. And it is one that Nkunku is going to take. He plays it short though into Enzo Fernandez. He gets it again. Dominguez with the challenge. It's a corner. It's one that Cole Palmer is going to take. The short option is there, and the short option is taken once again with Nkunku. Tries to go past Adama Traore. Gets the advantage. Into the box it goes. Into Sterling. Fofana on the edge. Dominguez though, putting in a real shift in the heart of the midfield. Wins it back, and now Rodrigo Munoz is going to look to go. The Brazilian 22-year-old looks to go past Cucurella. He's gone past one. He's gone past two. He plays it across to Adama Traore. Oh my goodness. What a way to finish the game. 2 minutes left remaining on the clock, and it's an absolutely incisive counter-attack. We've ripped through the heart of the Chelsea midfield and defence, and Adama Traore as a substitute has put the icing on the cake from about 2 yards out. Well, it was all down to the work of the 22-year-old Rodrigo Munoz. He battled past 3 Chelsea defenders, and he laid it on a plate for the big man at the back post, and he was not going to miss from there. Absolutely sensational play from Rodrigo Munoz, who should get the plaudits. Adama Traore celebrates though. 1-0 Fulham. Well, we huffed and we puffed and we finally blew the house down. Celebrations here for Fulham at Stamford Bridge as we've done the double over our arch rivals as it finishes here at full time with a much deserved 1-0 victory. A dramatic goal is certainly one way to describe it. We overcome Chelsea, and whilst Adama Traore saw his name up in lights getting the goal, it was all about the phenomenal work of this man Rodrigo Munoz. So much pressure on such young shoulders, but my word, he is living up to it in the first half of the season. 11 goals in 19 Premier League appearances, an absolutely sensational run of form for the Brazilian. And who knows, maybe my failed attempt to bring Aleksandar Mitrovic back to the club is turning out to be a blessing in disguise. A fabulous run of form sees us back up now into 5th place with the European qualification well within our sights, and with squad morale in the best place it's ever been before. That seems like the perfect way to end what has been a perfect episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.